Franklin County Board of County Commissioners, 9th session. I want everybody to take a minute and pray for these storm victims. Then Mr. Pastor Dave, would you come lead us in prayer?
Let's just stand and bow our heads. Father, we just thank you this day, Lord God. We just pray for those victims that are in Dorian's path, Father God. We pray, God, for safety and comfort during this time of their need, and that you'll send others to help them as well in the recovery process. Now, Father, we cover this meeting, County Commission meeting. We thank you for the wisdom and insight of God, that we'll make the appropriate decisions here today. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Morning.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Parrish. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimously. Next on the agenda be payment of the county bills.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Massey. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous. Next on the agenda will be, Michael, did you want it
I'll do that for public comment.
after public?
Yes, sir.
Public comments?
Morning, Commissioners. Gordon Hunter, District 1, with Friends of the Apalachicola Regional Airport. Just want to give you a little bit of an update. We've had some meetings in the last month or two. We've had over 70 people join the group as supporters of the airport, which is a good sign. Almost all of them are local citizens who are interested in the airport and development, want to see it operate in a good and proper manner. We are making inroads with a little museum out at the airport that we're going to start up. We're also going to be involved with youth programs. In fact, this Friday, there's a veterans group meeting locally with a Lieutenant Colonel Eric Duran will be speaking about forming a Civil Air Patrol cadet program. And then he's also going to go and speak with Franklin County schools and explore the opportunities for doing that. So we're trying to do things to give the airport some importance and do some things good for the community. Everything's going smooth that way. One thing I'd like to bring up, though, is one of the responsibilities the county has is to review the master plan update for the airport. And I've received a copy of the first portion of that plan, and I've looked at it pretty thoroughly, and there are some deficiencies. There are some things that really could be done better. And the trouble is we don't have a citizen input to help work with those kind of things. The airport committee that was chosen has 3 people on it. 2 of them live out of state. We have no local citizen input for this review. I've recommended that Commissioner Bert Bolt be added to that committee because he's an aviator. He's got experience with the Carabel Aviation Board, and hopefully bring along 2 or 3 other people. It's our feeling that we really do need to have citizen input in what goes on at the airport to help with proper management and oversight. Other than that, the airport's doing well, and we're happy with the FBO that's there. And just want to let you know that all is well with the airport. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Public comments? Public comments?
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Barbara Roars from Lanark Village. About 6 weeks ago, we had come in to discuss with the commissioners the fact of the speeding situation that we have in Lanark. We brought you all some petitions that were signed by everybody. Thank you. And what I would like to do today, because we have not been able to completely do an agenda for you all. I was waiting on Alligator Point to discuss with us their situation, which we've not heard back from them. So therefore, today, I would like to know if, when the sheriff officers come up to give their report, if we can add in our situation with Lanark.
Ma'am,
Well, I'd like to have discussion during the sheriff's report with the situation in Lanark.
no, you have to do yours now.
I think what she's asking for, Commissioner, is that later on, when the sheriff comes up, he has two items, none of speeding or traffic related, but I think she wants you guys to mention to him if he could get with that group to work out, something about the speeding in Lanark Village. Am I correct?
Correct.
So you're heading? Yeah. That's all.
Well,
basically.
he's been working on it. I've seen him out there. He's been, had cars all out there.
I guess when he gets up, then he could address what he's been doing in Lanark Village to
Oh,
address
okay.
speeding.
But he's
I
been
guess say that
doing
in
his
reverse,
job.
if I may.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
He's sitting back.
Thank you.
He's sitting back there, he here though.
Yeah, he's back there.
I'm happy to sit down with y'all anytime you want to address any issues you have. Captain Coulter is out there, he's assigned to oversee.
Come up front, please, Shay.
Come on. Yeah, good.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of stuff out there, and we're gonna continue to do stuff, but we're happy to sit down with y'all and address any particular issues. I know some of the people out there had come to me about changing the speed limit, and that's not up to me to change the speed limit.
The speed limit's supposed to be 15, and.
Right.
But, the issue that we have now is we have a little preschool girl that is moved in, and she's
Have-
on Parker.
You have to do your discussion, cause it's not part of this agenda, ma'am.
Okay.
But why don't we do that? Why don't we sit down and talk about what your issues are? If it's something that I can't fix, then bring it back to the commission. But probably most likely it's something that we can address and we can do something about, unless it's change the speed limit or putting in speed bumps or stuff like that. But if it's enforcement, then we need to talk about it. Okay? Is that cool?
All right.
We'll do that before you get out of here.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Public comments? Public comment. Next on the agenda,
If I may now, sir, I'd like to insert something. If we can go to, right before the sheriff comes back up, if we can go to item number 1 on my report. At your August 6th meeting, the board, by motion, supported a resolution proclaiming the last Saturday in September as Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve Day. It was our intention to have Ms. Jenna Harper, the director, at that meeting to accept the resolution. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Ms. Harper, apologize. Ms. Harper is here today, so there are no objections. The board can present the resolution after I read it for the record. Ms. Harper? It's a resolution of the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming its support for Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve Day. Whereas, nearly half a century ago, Congress declared it national policy in the Coastal Zone Management Act of 1972 to preserve, protect, and where possible, to restore or enhance the resources of the nation's coastal zone, including estuaries, for current and future generations, thereby establishing the National Estuarine Research Reserve System and subsequently the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve in 1979, the second largest of 29 reserves across the nation. Whereas estuaries of the United States comprise a significant share of the national economy, contributing more than $4.3 billion to the U.S. economy every year. Furthermore, it is estimated that the nation's estuaries provide habitat for more than 75% of America's commercial fish and shellfish, and 80 to 90% of recreational fish catch. Whereas the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve comprises of 234,000 acres of uplands, river, and bay, provides essential habitat for countless species of fish and wildlife, including many that are listed as threatened or endangered. Franklin County acknowledges the importance of protecting the bay, river, and surrounding uplands, and the role of the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve plays in providing vital scientific information on the health of the Apalachicola River and Bay. Whereas the Apalachicola Estuary provides critical ecosystem services that protect human health and public safety, including water filtration, flood control, shoreline stabilization and erosion prevention, and protection of coastal communities during extreme weather events. Whereas the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners acknowledges the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve's contribution to the Franklin County economy by a direct investment of over $2 million annually from the federal and state government and employs 26 people. Whereas in 2019, the Reserve celebrates its 40th anniversary and the 36th anniversary as a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. The Franklin County Board of County Commissioners supports increased awareness among all citizens, including local, state, and federal officials, about the importance of keeping the Apalachicola Bay and River healthy estuaries and the need to protect them. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners designate September 28th, 2019, the last Saturday of September, as Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve Day, and supports and acknowledge the importance of estuaries to Franklin County economic well-being and productivity. Applauds the work of the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve and reaffirms its stewardship of the estuary, including the preservation, protection, and restoration of its resources. This resolution was actually adopted on the 6th day of August, but Jen is here today to accept it. So, there you go, commissioners. You might want to come up and you guys make a presentation.
Would you come up, please, ma'am?
You want us to stand?
Y'all stand, please. Yeah. On behalf of the county commission, we present this resolution to you, and thank you for all the service, y'all. Anybody else got something to say?
Yes, I'd like to.
Go ahead.
Hey, Ms. Harper. I just wanted to thank you on behalf of so many things historically that have meant a lot to me in my own personal life. To have such a beautiful jewel out there that begins to do the research of this very precious Bay Area is very, very, very special to me. It was people like you that influenced me back when I was in high school to keep the very microscope that I still have today. And I want you to know that I have, through your facility, I have been there. I know these gentlemen have too. That video you have on the history of Apalachicola Bay is absolutely priceless. And to be able to touch and see the very part of our life in our community, the research facility that you have is just wonderful. And I just encourage everybody to go. I really appreciate this quality work that you're doing here. And I've come to appreciate the background and lives of my fellow commissioners here in the seafood industry because of the research that you're doing. And we just look forward to hearing more from you, and proud to have you here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bolt, and thank you all the commissioners for your continued support of the reserve. And want to remind you that the last Friday in September, the 27th, we celebrate our Estuaries Day at the reserve, and everyone is welcome from 1:30 to 5:30. So thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Jenna, before you leave, can I say something, please?
Yeah, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman? Following up on what Commissioner Bolt said, I just want to also thank the Reserve for also being good community partners. I know Appalachia Regional Planning Council's held some meetings there North Florida Water Management has held meetings there. It's been good for this local government to have that kind of access, and you guys have been more than welcoming and taking care of any and everything more than just the reserve. You guys are good community partners. I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess we'll follow now. And I want to say something before we move on. In that public comment, I wasn't trying to cut nobody short, but it wasn't what she was saying and it wasn't related. We do. And it deal with the sheriff department. They doing a good job controlling. I mean, I think if you get together with them, you'll do good, man. They'll take care of you. Next on the agenda will be Sheriff A.J. Smith. Proclamation presentation.
Where you want us?
Right, you can go right there, just give them some background information as to how these gentlemen.
Good morning, everybody, again. Yeah, give that to Michael. You're going to read the proclamation?
If you want me to.
Sure. You do such a great job.
Well, this time I'll try and turn on the mic. How's
Forget
that?
your name for the record, Sheriff.
Yeah, Sheriff A.J. Smith, and good morning, everybody. We appreciate this proclamation for these two outstanding deputies. They were recently awarded the Deputy Sheriff of the Year by the Florida Sheriff's Association, which is a huge honor. It's they're picked from the 67 counties in Florida, and of all the nominations that came in across the state, they were selected for their heroism during the East Point fires, where they rescued a family out of a burning truck, right probably in the most intense part of this fire. Everybody was working there, as we all know how horrific that fire was and the damage that it did in East Point and how it hit us so quickly and moved so fast. And when the Hewitts went to this location over in East Point and found these folks in this car, in this truck that had run off in the ditch, they, even after being told to leave the area because the smoke had gotten so thick, that I gave the order for everybody to pull out because you couldn't see the windshield, you couldn't see the hood in front of your car. They stayed and rescued these people, and as a result, the lives were saved, or otherwise we would have had, some fatalities. And as a result of their actions, there were no fatalities. So I think it's worthy of this proclamation. I really appreciate y'all doing this, and without further ado.
All right, Sheriff, who goes first, son or the father? Tell me.
Sarge, go ahead.
Who outranks who?
Right here.
Okay. Let's go with Jeff first. Whereas Sergeant Jeff Hewitt started his career in law enforcement with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office in 2003 and has served the citizens of Franklin County for 16 years. And whereas Sergeant Jeff Hewitt has demonstrated dedication and loyalty to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office and is committed to protecting and serving the people of Franklin County. And whereas Sergeant Jeff Hewitt on June 24, 2018, selflessly put the safety of others before himself to save 3 lives during the East Point fire. Whereas Sergeant Jeff Hewitt was named Law Enforcement Deputy of the Year by the Florida Sheriff's Association on July 30th, 2019. Whereas the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners wishes to express a sincere appreciation to Sergeant Jeff Hewitt for his outstanding commitment and service to Franklin County. Now therefore, be it resolved by Franklin County Board of County Commissioners to sincerely thank Sergeant Jeff Hewitt for his continued service to Franklin County and to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. This resolution adopted this third day of September 2019 by the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners. Sergeant, go forward, sir. Good job.
On behalf of the board, we present you with this resolution. you, and thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you very much. Chairman, you can stay if you don't want to stray too far. And this resolution, the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners honoring Deputy Jared Hewitt as Law Enforcement Deputy of the Year by Florida Sheriff's Association. Whereas Deputy Jared Hewitt started his career in law enforcement with the Department of Corrections in 2007, thereafter joining the Franklin County Sheriff's Office in 2017. And whereas Deputy Jared Hewitt has demonstrated dedication and loyalty to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office and is committed to protecting and serving the people of Franklin County. And whereas Deputy Jared Hewitt, on June 24th, 2018, selflessly put the safety of others before himself to save 3 lives during the East Point fire. And whereas Deputy Jared Hewitt was named Law Enforcement Deputy of the Year by the Florida Sheriff's Association on July 30th, 2019. Whereas the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Deputy Jared Hewitt for his outstanding commitment and service to Franklin County. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners to sincerely thank Deputy Jared Hewitt for his continued service to Franklin County and to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. This resolution adopted the 3rd day of September 2019 by the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners. Deputy?
On behalf of the Franklin County Commissioners, we, under this resolution, you and your father make a good tag team. Thank you for your service. I got to sign them things,
Mr. Chairman, I think we need a motion to adopt those proclamations.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Jones, to adopt both of the resolution, proclamations. Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous. Job well done.
Yep, very much.
What about this USDA grant for new vehicle?
And just to, before they start, just to let you know, this is a similar grant like what we're using to purchase the ambulances for Weems Memorial. There's a split, there's a grant, there's a match that they have to produce, and they're gonna explain it to you further. So just to let you guys know that.
Okay.
Morning, ladies.
Good morning, County Commissioners. I know you're used to me coming up here before the board to speak to you about grants. However, we have a new grant writer, Lindsay Shepard. Most of you know her, if not all of you may know her. So I'm going to pass this on to her, but I am going to be here in case you have any questions that she may not be aware of because she is new in this position, so she may not know a lot of the budgeting side of that. But she is going to speak to you about the USDA grant. Thank you. Lindsay.
Good morning. Today we are.
Let me get y'all name for the record,
I'm sorry.
both of y'all.
Okay.
Ginger Coulter, Franklin County Sheriff's Office, and I should know to do that.
Lindsay Shepard, Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are here today to get your approval for a USDA grant. The grant is a 55-45 match, meaning that we would get a 55% grant, and we would have to come up with the other 45%. We are asking for, and this is per need from a lot of the deputies, especially Captain Webb, who I've spoken with quite a bit about this, are 3 new vehicles with dash cameras. The dash cameras are a need for the department, and this is an opportunity to be able to fund this.
Okay.
Where's the food, I guess?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, good.
One question real quick. The sheriff
Sheriff, you are gonna be able to come up with this match out of your current budget?
Yes, sir, that's correct. We'll
budget that's been
match it out.
proposed this year?
We're not asking for anything extra.
I'd like to make a motion, we proceed. I'm understanding that the county has to apply for this grant themselves. Is that correct, Mike?
The county has to be the applicant for USDA grant.
Would the sheriff state that he could come up with his own match out of his budget this year? I'll make a motion that we proceed with that.
I second.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Burt. Any more discussion?
Just a moment, I'd like to say something.
Go ahead.
Again, you are my sheriff of peace of mind. I've often told you that over many, many activities. You've just demonstrated some of Franklin County's finest that are working for you today. And I've always been so impressed with the fact that we give you $1 in your budget and you are resourceful to make $1.25 out of it. I've said that, I've noticed that over these many months, and I just appreciate your creativity. I'm thrilled that you've got a grant writer here, and how special is that? I kind of wish we had an independent, a dedicated grant writer here in Franklin County in our commission too. So I just want to applaud this opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any more
One question. Hey, Lindsay, is this like a pre-application, what we had to do, then you follow up with a full application?
Yes, it is,
Okay, I
yes.
just want to make sure. So I guess they have to come back, like we will have to, with the, once the application's approved?
Yeah, pretty much, because we still have to.
Because we have to do the same thing. Okay, I
Right.
just want to make sure we're
Okay.
all doing the same thing.
Right.
Okay.
Well, this is a good thing you're doing, Sheriff, and it'll
Thank you.
it go a long way if you can find, anytime you can find money like that.
Well, you know, and like Lindsay found this grant, and I know we have the body cams, all the deputies wear the body cams, but it's almost like the manufacturer of these things kind of gets you in a trick box, because where they have to wear the cameras, they're not, what happens in the car is not visible, and there's nowhere else to wear the camera. We've tried it up here, it doesn't work, and you'll notice they wear them right here in the center of their chest. So when they're sitting in the car, if they're in a pursuit or something's going on, you don't get any of that. All you get's the dashboard. And that's the way everybody that has purchased, Axon is probably one of the most popular body cams in the country. I mean, LAPD uses it, Tallahassee Police, all the big agencies are using it, and the small ones, because of it's a really good quality product. But we're not getting the stuff that we need in the car, so this grant's going to enable us to transition some of the cars to a body cam, to a camera in the car that will also work with the body cam, so you'll have more, more video of what's going on. And as you know, the world that we're living in now, if you don't have video, you really don't have anything, and it's kind of a sad state of affairs. But we feel like it's good protection for the community and good protection for us.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimously.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
you.
y'all. Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Next on the agenda will be Mr. Rick Watts, tax collector, county-owned tax certificate discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. I'm Rick Watson, Franklin County Tax Collector. The purpose of my visit this morning is to request permission from the County Commission to proceed with the application for tax deeds on property county certificates that will expire. To follow up on my memo to you dated August 1st, there are a total of 26 tax certificates. 24 are owned by two separate corporate owners. SGI Land Company owns 124 lots, and Forgotten Coast Land Company, LLC, owns 121 lots, all in Carabel. Both LLCs have the same address out in California. Both LLCs are inactive. I've provided proof of the inactive status of the corporations. There are 24 certificates that are about to expire on these lots. Franklin County owns 103 tax certificates for the last 7 years. Private investors own 48 tax certificates. Taxes due on the county certificates as of August 31st are $223,176. From discussions with the property appraiser's office and Carabel officials, my best guess is that of the 245 lots, 103 lots are high and dry. The remaining lots are wet, although some are possibly buildable with retention ponds. The cost to the county for filing the tax deed application is $675 per certificate. I explored the possibility of filing only 2 TDAs on these lots, but I'm unable to do so because private investors have some certificates outstanding on those properties. The total cost of the 26 certificates would be $17,550. I think that this would be appropriate action to take on the part of the county commission. As I explained earlier, I believe that the county will ultimately own these lots. They will go into what's called an excess lands list for 3 years. If anyone wants to buy the lots, they've got to pay all the taxes owed by the county, plus all the taxes owed by the private investors. I don't see that happening, but that is a possibility. After 3 years on the excess lands list, the county will own the property free and clear and can do what it wants to with it. So I spoke with the clerk, and she's informed me that there are funds sufficient to cover these costs. So are there any questions?
Yeah, well, I think it'd be a good thing. Usually, if somebody gonna buy them lot, they usually buy them at the sale, right?
Yes. It's handled just like a regular tax deed application, but the county doesn't have to pay the taxes on the private investors.
Right.
That's different. And so it's handled just like I would handle any tax deed application. I send a 2-week notice letter, then we file the application. The clerk has costs that she incurs by advertising the sale and sending certified letters to people who have an interest in the property. So there will be a tax sale on the courthouse steps. It's usually about 4 months after I submit the application to her.
Well, I think it'd be a good thing for the county, because the people out of business, they going out of business. Somebody gonna get them, they probably would have been got them by now. And it'll be a good thing in the future we can use them for affordable houses or something, you know. Might need them for something else. So, you know, pleasurable in the discussion.
Mr. Chairman?
Great.
And Mr. Watson said we do have the funds available to proceed with this?
We do, yeah, but I feel like, really the county will actually come back in a more positive light after doing this, because then those lots will come back on the tax rolls at some point. We'll be able to collect ad valorem proceeds on them again once they sell.
With that, I'm gonna make a motion to proceed.
Second.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Mass. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimously.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda will be Ms. Heather Riley, Supervisor Election, Cybersecurity.
Good morning, Commissioners. Heather Riley, Supervisor of Elections.
Good morning.
Here's a copy of the said proposal with the letter I'm going to be reading this morning.
Thank you.
And I'm here this morning to present a proposal made by our IT company, which is Inspired Technologies. They're also work with our Sheriff's Department, the FBI, Department of Homeland Security. But we want to address an announcement made by Governor DeSantis in June of this year that the Department of State and the County Supervisors of Elections will engage in a cooperative cybersecurity initiative ahead of the 2020 elections. In 2017, elections were designated as critical infrastructure by the federal government, and as we all know, the data security and emphasis on information technology support for our elections office is now more mission critical than ever. All of Florida's 67 supervisors of election offices are members of the Elections Infrastructure Information Sharing and Analysis Center, which we call MSISAC. And we all use the Albert server, which detects and quickly alerts our technical support of any cyber threats. As of to date, we have not had any cyber threats against our server, but that's, not to say one couldn't happen at any moment. They're constantly working, trying their best to infiltrate anywhere they can. The task and responsibility for maintaining cybersecurity and the day-to-day support of our technology needs has become overwhelming with limited funds and limited staff to meet the demand. We're not alone. This is an issue that many small counties are facing. This, coupled with media attention and public perception as it pertains to the technological support of our office, will undoubtedly be at the forefront of many discussions as we move closer to the 2020 elections. Because of this, the amount of time and resources spent on the technological support needs of our offices will increase, and as such, so will the cost of maintaining those environments. Everyone is looking for a solution, and Inspired believes they have come up with the most comprehensive approach to meeting our needs as they relate to the requirements of the Department of State. Our office is asking for approval and financial support in perpetuity to develop cloud solutions and cybersecurity measures that will enhance the security and support of our office, all the while mitigating risk and allowing for the core functions of our office to remain focused on the mission, which is to serve the constituents of our county. We anticipate the total yearly allotment of funds for this solution to be used for an all-inclusive on-site and remote support for daily operations, and will include election day on-site IT support, fiber, copper, and redundant internet, multi-factor authentication, hosting of data and applications, physical and virtual firewalls, and security applications. All of this, of course, will depend on a successful test, assessment, and analysis of current and future needs. I ask that you, the board, allow Inspired Technologies, VR Systems, and Microsoft to move forward with beta testing to move on-premise data and applications into a Microsoft Azure and Office 365. Our office will be developing a comprehensive information security policy in coordination with these vendors. This policy will include a continuity of operations plan, a disaster recovery plan, and a role responsibility matrix that will clearly define responsibilities of our vendors and staff. The project recurring price will be $5,500 per month for the term of the service agreement, and a complete listing of what the pricing includes is on page 15 of the proposal I gave you. I know that county funds are tight, and I would not be bringing this to you if I did not feel it was the absolute best solution to the technological and cybersecurity needs of the elections office. I understand money is in short supply, and if the board does not feel this is something we could move forward with, then I do ask that a letter be drafted to my attention stating the current county budget is not able to fund the request at this time.
Pledge of the board. Discussion.
Please. Hey, good morning, Ms.
Good
Heather.
morning.
I am certainly aware, I know we all are, of the concern of cybersecurity and the issues here. The price scares me, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you have looked at this very in-depth.
Yes.
First
And-
of all, is there an escape in this contract if we just don't want to deal with them
Yes.
anymore? And how long would that escape clause?
Yes.
How much notice do we have to give them to get out of this thing?
Well, we work with them daily. They are in and out of our office, and we're on the phone with them daily. If this proved to be a plan that did not work, we have monthly calls with them. We're not the only county that's looking. We're about a 10-county consortium that work with Inspired. 2 of those counties have been given the okay to go ahead by their board, but they're larger, Wakulla and Jackson County. Most of us small counties, our boards, we just can't afford this pricing, and they're well aware of that. And that's one reason we are looking for that letter so that we can actually approach the state, because they were in receipt of quite a large sum of money from the federal government to put towards cybersecurity, and we're hoping that as a small county we can get in on some of that to help us move forward with projects like this one. I would say 30 days maybe to give them if we needed to get out of it.
Sure. Well, just money-wise, are you saying if we give you a letter saying too pricey right now, that'll give you a gateway to go to the
Exactly.
state to see if they can help us then?
Exactly, exactly. And that's the main purpose of coming here today, to present it to you, because in reality, we know that this is not a price that our county can afford right now.
Understood.
But I need that letter to open the door to talks with the state, to be able to request some funding from them.
I'll make a motion, get Heather a letter to send to the state, try to get her some help.
Second.
I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Masters, second by Commissioner Parrish. And that's your recommendation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Commissioners, and definitely, we don't have $66,000 that we
No.
can work for recurring
know.
expenditures year after year.
Right.
We're gonna-
Exactly. Okay.
Well, I need, after we do this motion, I wanna have another motion made. I'll tell you when I get through with it. Any more discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passed unanimous. Now, I'd like a motion be made to get to our delegates and tell them what the situation is, and let them know we are one of the small counties that we've been through storm fires and everything, and we can't afford it. We need some help on this thing.
Actually, what I could do, Commissioners, is
right.
actually copy our legislative delegation on the letter we sent to her, and then put on the email saying, hey, I'm sending you this letter because we want you to be aware of this fact and know that our supervisor of election will be approaching the state for some funding.
Okay, and I also want a letter copy too. What we belong to the FO? Or we telling it? Small county. We wanna send them a letter so they can see what
Chris
they.
Doolin, okay.
Chris Doolin, see, can he be working on it too?
Okay.
Get all these small counties some money. Some help.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You mean your,
Yeah, I'm in anyway.
I'll amend my second to reflect the chairman's comment.
Okay. All right. Well, we done voted.
We done voted.
Yeah.
Do we need another motion
Do
on
we
this?
need another motion?
Did we get it?
I thought y'all were in the process of modifying the motion in the second to incorporate the chairman's comments. That would be sufficient.
That'll be sufficient?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next on the agenda will be the department's director report. Mr. Howard Neighbor, Superintendent of Public Works.
Good morning, Commissioners. How y'all doing?
I'm good.
We, been watching the storm and stuff, since last week. And, since Thursday and all, so we had our stuff in our staging areas, our trucks, our, equipment and all ready just in case, because they did show that thing coming in, some of it coming into the gut. But it slowed down and hopefully make a turn, so. And also, put line rock at Alligator Point just in case the road did get washed out, or would, replace it pretty quick where people could get in and out, so. We always have a problem. We basically have to haul that line rock all the way from East Point to Alligator Point, and it just takes a while a lot of time there, so. And continue on cutting grass and weed eating and doing the road, same old, so.
I hope we don't need it.
No, I hope that thing will turn. I feel sorry for them people out here, but
Yeah.
bad.
All right. Anybody else got anything from Mr. Neighbor?
I got that. On my report, item number 2, at your May 1st, 2018 regular meeting, I explained to the board that the property owner located at 1584 Peachtree Road, located in an area known as Southland, which is west of Apalachicola, complained of standing water after a rain event in a ditch located at the edge of his property. At that same meeting, the board directed me to have a discussion with Dewberry about options on resolving that issue. I was not able to have that discussion immediately with Dewberry, and then Hurricane Michael recovery became a priority as it relates to the county's use of Dewberry. Last week, Chairman Lockley asked me for an update on this matter, so I discussed this stormwater issue with Mr. Clay Kennedy of Dewberry. Mr. Kennedy suggested that we consider using the road department to follow the entire drainage system to verify that there is nothing, such as downed trees from Hurricane Michael, blocking the path and adding to the drainage problem before agreeing to what could be an expensive stormwater study for the Southland area only. Keep in mind that since the water table is high in that area, there might not be an easy solution to the drainage problem, or any changes made to correct standing water in the ditch at 1584 Peachtree Road might increase stormwater problems to other property owners in that area. Mr. Kennedy is here this morning in case the board has additional questions. And Howard could tell you, I didn't realize Howard told me that they had already done some work there also in reference to this.
Yeah, we've looked at, ever since I've been with the county, it's been a water problem. I've looked at it, we shot grades on some of the pipes. You got an 18-inch pipe which goes under the road that drains all that water. If you put a 24 or 36-inch pipe there to try to drain that water, then you're gonna flood the rest of the people down the road, so therefore you would have to just about go all the way through to change all them cover pipes out if you change that one pipe. Which he does, he is watering the ditch, but you know, the ditches are made for settlement, they're not made to drain dry, so.
I guess, Commissioner, I just need some direction as to where we go from here. Do you want to assign Howard to do this survey? I don't even know how big that whole drainage
We've
system
looked at it.
is.
I mean, I don't know where you're gonna drain that water to put bigger pipes in.
Did y'all check the ditches for the trees and stuff?
Yeah, there's no trees in the ditches.
No
It's just a
limbs,
water problem. You got an 18-inch pipe, which the pipe could be lowered, which you'd have to cut that road in two, and probably two different roads would have to be cut in two, then you'd have to replace about 5 different pipes. If you go to 24-inch or 36-inch pipe to try to drain all the water. If you just change this one pipe to a 24 or 36, then you're gonna flood them other people if you get a flood down the road, so.
Mr. Locke?
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, not only has that ditch got water in it, they all got water.
They all do. There's a lot of-
All around the neighborhood. I live in that neighborhood. There's water in my ditch in front of my house too. So it ain't like that's the only ditch out there holding water. They all hold
They all
water.
hold water. My road
The
goes
water
with
table
water.
is so high.
Yeah.
And until the water table drops where the water in the ditch can drop out also, all those ditches out there have
They have
water in them.
water.
And I've been out there 25 years and it's always been that way.
And where he lives, we looked at it, there's two ditches beside his property that runs west, and it's just all swamp. I mean, for miles and miles, just low area, tie-dye, basically, so.
And a lot of the water's coming from like Tilton Road out that
Yes,
way,
sir.
trying to find the river.
They're trying, that's
So
right.
it's all coming through our neighborhood there, but it's not actually water generated in our neighborhood, it's generated in
Yeah.
1,700 acres plus to the west of that.
If you get a lot of rain, I mean, we have the same kind of problem everywhere in the whole county. I mean, if you get a lot of water, which I picked Mr. Ricky up last week, and showed him some issues of flooding, I mean, so.
Well, just tell the man to explain it to him.
I've talked to him, but he just wants to, he don't want that water in that ditch. He don't want no water standing in his yard, so.
Mr. Chairman, just to complement your request, it seems like we should write this gentleman a letter on official county letterhead, describing it was part of our discussion agenda today. We had experts here to discuss this issue, and we really looked at it well on his behalf. And send him a letter, I think, to be sure we come to some closure on this.
Yeah, that's what we do with them. Get with them, someone let her do something.
I mean, that's the motion. I'll tell you nothing that scares me. How do I say this? Problem is, there are other, worse stormwater issues throughout the county. So I think before we try to address just one, it should be a more comprehensive look across the county, how we're gonna deal with stormwater in general. If I get my point across, is what I'm trying to say.
Wait, Mr. Chairman, but the land around Franklin County is flat. There are very few hills that you could alleviate some drainage issues if you had somewhere, to make water flow like that, but it's so flat, especially out in Southland, that there's no elevation to really use to your advantage to try to drain some of these areas. Like I said, I got water in front of my house. I've been out here 25 years. But when the water table drops, the water will drop out of the ditches. But until then, when the water table is up so high, you can take a pair of post hole diggers and go down 6 inches and strike water. Well, that tells you that the water table is high, and until it drops down where this water can be absorbed in the ground, there's gonna be water in all those ditches. I don't, like the road superintendent spoke, if I thought there was an easy, quick solution, we'd have already done it.
That's exactly right.
And I think everybody that lives out there understands that. Because there's, you know, we're not getting complaints from every citizen out there. They all know that we try to do the best we can with it. And until the water table drops, the water's not gonna drop out of those ditches. I mean, just kind of the way it is in front of my house and everybody else's house.
Yeah.
I've looked all the way from Bluff Road. When you start at Bluff Road, there's water in front of that church right there. And right on down the road to where this gentleman lives at. I mean, there's water in every ditch. It's not just his ditch.
Yes.
You agree with that, Mr. Engineer?
I was hoping to get away without having to speak. Clay Kennedy with Dewberry. I haven't spoke to Mr. Howard about this, but I agree with him. I think I calculated there were 8 side drains and maybe 3 or 4 cross drains that would be affected if you started trying to lower pipes. All of this goes back out underneath that big box culvert that they replaced on Bluff Road. So you're looking at a roughly 1,000-acre drainage basin that this thing involves. You're looking at a couple of feet of fall over 1,000 acres. From where this gentleman lives out to Bluff Road, Commissioner Parrish may be able to correct me if I'm wrong, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. There's 2 feet of fall. I'm sorry, there's 1 foot of fall between there. It's about an 11 or 12 elevation according to LiDAR contours towards his house, and the same thing out towards Bluff Road. So everything y'all are stating is correct. There's not enough elevation fall between to make things work. If you dig too deep, all you're doing is sucking the water table up into that ditch, and you're gonna hold water in it anyway. Or if you try to dig them too deep to where you can get it to discharge out towards the river, the deeper you go, the more river you actually allow to back up into your ditch. So I agree with what y'all are stating. You're in a problem state of coastal Florida, high water table, no elevation. Water's gonna stand in the ditch until water table drops.
Exactly.
And we can move forward.
Then
So
it-
there's not a quick fix that, on a cursory review that I've looked at, there's not a quick fix. So I agree with what's being stated.
Mr. Chairman, while he's here, I'd like to say something. You know, Clay, I've had several times I've had to agree to disagree with people in my district, especially on St. George Island, that, you know, they're thinking that we can just make a drainage to go into the bay, which would be a DEP issue. We've talked about it several times.
That's right.
But it also, like you said, if you open it up to the bay, water's gonna go to the point of least resistance. So for something flowing to the bay's gonna flow to their yard.
That's right.
So there's just not an easy fix.
If it's low enough to discharge into the bay, it's high enough to, or low enough to
Yeah.
allow bay water back up in, so.
Well, pleasure, write the man a letter. Do we need a motion on that, Mr. Chief?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all right, got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner.
I'm sorry. Before you vote, could you actually, what would help me a whole lot, Commissioners, if you would actually reverse the first motion you made about, back in 2018, about the study? Because then if we already decided, based on what we're doing here, that the study won't help anything, it'll save that from being on the record and us committing to those dollars, spending those dollars. That confused everybody.
I'll add, the administrator's comments to my motion.
Thank you.
I'm in my second.
Okay. We got a motion on the floor and it been amended. It's the same thing what was, we voted on last year, that's why I brought it back up, so it was voted on. And, I'm tired of the phone call, really. Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Pass unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, did we decide to write a letter to the property owner telling the in-depth discussion?
Yes, sir, that was part of the
Okay.
motion.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what we just did. Anybody got anything else for Mr. Hyde?
Do the best you can with all this grass, Howard.
Yeah, well, we doing the best. We got one tractor, being you brought that up, that the PTO, which is 6 years old, it tore up the bear house and all, so we gotta send it to the shop, which we sent it this morning, so we're gonna hook to one of our older tractors and hope it lasts.
Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Don't, have a good one.
Mr. Chairman, Fonda texted me and said he's running late coming from the landfill, so if you let Pam and Eric go,
Okay.
he should be here to follow.
Next on the agenda be, Ms. Pam Bonilla.
Good morning, Commissioners. I apologize for not having a board report, but we were getting ready, preparing for the storm last week. And we're still doing conference calls on Dorian still until she actually decides where she's going. And if everybody's looking at the news, they see that there's also 2 more storms right behind her. So we'll be monitoring those.
Okay, your storm ready?
Once again, if the people in this county have their plan, we're storm ready.
Okay. Got the action. All right. Anybody got anything else for Mr. Bonilla? Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda be Mr. Eric Love Spring, Extension Officer.
Morning, Commissioners. I do not have anything extra for you this morning.
Okay. Anybody got anything for Mr. Love Spring? Keep up the good work.
Good, thank you.
All right, we gon'
Well,
we can, let's take 5.
good.
Try it again.